So here we are. YouTube's chat seems to be acting up again. I'm going to try working on the side windows first, because these angles are a pain in the ass. I had to do this one 3 times yesterday. Got something reasonably passable. What the hell got on the glass? And that's already glued down too. God damn it. That would explain why you couldn't hear me. I do that every time. Sorry, just getting that bot off of Twitch.
What?
Can you jump over on YouTube and see if chat's working over there? Because I got a message that it wasn't. And yes, I'm still very tired. Excuse me. It just said chat connected. Because it literally just connected. YouTube's being really ornery lately. How you doing, Alex? Feeling kind of run down today. My back's still been acting up. Yeah, YouTube is weird, Aries. So, in this case, use whichever streaming service. Hey, Fear. Whichever one is behaving. Ultimately, I'd like to shift people all over to Kick from Twitch, if possible. I'm trying to remember what to click to get a picture up. I keep clicking other things. Shiny object. And I'm just doing this so I can gauge how big to make the surround on this piece. Because I really don't feel like doing it 3 times again. So this is how I've been doing it. Kind of a wasteful way of doing it, but it works. It's quicker and easier. Because if you try cutting this stuff on its own, it begins to come apart, right? It does this, and all the strands come apart. So in order to keep that from happening, I make the outer frame, which is, it snaps onto the side of the vehicle, and then I put this on the mesh and then cut around the outside. That way it holds the mesh together. And then as one piece I can fit it to the vehicle. And this is the finest stuff I could get that actually looked the part. Yeah, it's okay. Both options have this, both options have the same subbing and tipping and all that. If you want to support the channel in those means, just gets a higher return to the streamer is all. Hey, Major Havoc. So let's test fit this one. I'd say that about nailed it. So I'll glue this one on, then we'll make the next one. You kind of gotta, because I've seen people totally go bonkers trying to be 100% authentic on replicating stuff. That's cool. I'm more of a, close enough is good enough. And to me, this is close enough. I'm just spreading a little bit of super glue on the back of it, because even though it is mounted to masking tape, the mesh is between the tape and the model, so it won't hold. So the super glue just gives it that final stickiness. Then once everything's dry, I'll go back and paint it with RLM2 gray, which seems to match kind of the dusty color that it has. Some on the camouflage vehicles, like the green, the 3-color camo, the European vehicles, it would have black surrounds, believe it or not. Some would have green. I've seen sand-colored surrounds. I think that color works best for it, just because it adds a bit more to the model without it being just like a monotone sand. There's enough of that color tone on it to begin with. We'll do the other side, and then we'll get the other two windows there. I felt like starting simple this morning. Yeah, Kick seems to be pretty slow growing, though. For all the people that are supposedly using it, getting no traffic, it seems. Oh, hey, Aries did resub for a second month on Kick, though. Thank you very much. Yeah, just if I ever get pretentious sounding, tell me. I recently had to block a model building person. Because for some reason his videos are basically pulling a pirate software and just inundating my feed when I'm on like Facebook or Instagram. And the way they're presenting pretty simple old school techniques as some newfangled superiority complex thing just rubs me the wrong way. It's like, sorry dude, armor texture with thinned putty or Mr. Surfacer isn't new, it isn't special. It's not something you pioneered. I think I saw somebody do these glare shields one time before. I just don't remember what they used, and I couldn't, for the life of me, I couldn't find the article in it. So, thought I'd give it a shot myself. I think it was on Missing Links, but their forum is so disorganized, you can't find anything there easily. I'm just squaring up the edges of the panel a little bit. Come on. Really? Yeah, sorry if I'm a little shaky today. My back has still been bothering me. I woke up feeling like it was on fire. But at least it wasn't spasming, it just hurt all over. Okay. Now we know that dimension. There. 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 Unfortunately, they tend to get heard more than people like me, though. Because I'm not a published author of these books that sell these ideas as theirs. Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to get the ribbon trimmed back to the edge a little bit neater. There were some little bits and bobs sticking about. There we go. I may have to cut that bottom edge just a hair bit thinner, but not by much. That's better. Not the straightest line, but at this point, as usual, I just want to get the model finished. Little ball of super glue onto a piece of tape. That way, once the super glue kicks, you can just peel the tape off. Another reason I started with these little side windows, the angles are easier, but it just helps me reaffirm that my idea works solidly. The one that I was able to figure out the other day, and that I don't have to redesign the wheel again just to get it to work. Come on. You fudger. No, there's something else going on. I don't know what it is. That's what I was saying in my last stream, and I'm trying to keep it non-political. It just feels like something. There's something else at work here that is above both of them. And I'll leave it at that. Okay. No. Until something actually happens, anything I say will just sound like the ramblings of a crazy idiot. So. Wouldn't it be funny if they were at the center of all of it? I'm trying to cut over the wiper blades that are installed there too, so I can get a good read on the lower line. Wouldn't that just be funny if they were at the center of all of it? Just squaring that up a bit. I don't think I got a good read on that. Now the hardest part on these ones is I've got to cut little notches in the bottom for the wipers. But there's something about the wipers on the model that aren't lining up like the real one. I mean, they are and they aren't. I guess my attempt isn't terrible. I don't know, I'm not feeling a lot of my model builds lately. The LAV I did, but that one, you could almost say I'm familiar with it. It's a vehicle that I've always had an interest in since I was a kid. I'd seen real ones in person, so it's like, it's not like I just knew it through books and web forums. I'd actually, I had a tactile feeling for it, This thing's actually larger than the LAV-25. And that thing's designed to have a crew of 3 and carry troops, where this just has a crew of 3. And I accidentally broke that. That's okay. I'm gonna stick this here. It's not like I have to worry about running out of this mesh. I've got a whole spool of it. But the fewer times I gotta do it, the better. Right? Let's get that off of there. Bye, Fear. Everyone's leaving. Bye, everyone. Hey, Davos. How you doing? And just remember, anyone still on Twitch, Twitch has been rolling out a whole shit ton of viewbot elimination things lately. I don't know where lurkers count in that. I don't mind if you lurk. Just periodically, just throw up an emote. You know, that's it. Be active at least one time per stream. Because it would suck if you're an honest-to-goodness viewer, you know, a real person, but you just get canceled for being a viewbot because while you're in the stream, you're not active, so... And I know that kind of defeats the sense of lurking because you just want to hang out, have me on in the background, and listen to me ramble. Yeah, there's some streamers who've reported having audiences at one time in like the 6,000 or 7,000s. Suddenly they have 2,000. And viewbotting doesn't always have to be knowingly done. Like, there's two ways you go about it. Either I could go out and do it, right? Which I don't, obviously. I've got like nobody watching. Or somebody can do it to you and you not know it. They could set you up to have it done. Just because they think they're helping. You know, because the higher numbers, you get more noticed by the systems, and you get put out there more. You know, it makes sense. But they're really trying to combat that now because it's become a much larger problem than they anticipated. You're not wrong, Alex. Look at the 6-Rad or the Puma from back in the day. Those big-ass 8-wheeled armored vehicles. Why did they need 8 wheels? Or even 6 wheels? Alright. This is actually going a lot smoother than I thought. Which is good and kind of bad. I was hoping it would take longer because I wanted to pad things out a bit. Okay. It's mainly a Twitch thing. Yeah, you could UVOT. I can't even talk straight today. You could viewbot Kick as well, but I think their system works slightly differently in that it's not as impactful. And I think that's also why YouTube changed its view counting policy recently, making people have to engage with the channels in order for the view to be counted, because they may have felt somebody was going to do something like that on YouTube. And if you are watching on YouTube, please remember to like, subscribe, comment, do something to my video. Let me know that you saw it. It does help. We've gained, I want to say, almost 10 subscribers in the last week. Which, for me, that's awesome. And if it's any of you guys that did it, thank you very much if you're watching. Or if you come across this video later, thanks again. I do appreciate it, and it does mean a lot to me. Come on, get lined up. This looks jank, but it's the best I can do. When it's painted, it'll look better. I keep referring back to the picture to make sure that I don't screw something up, and it looks like I may have just done that. I made the top portion too tall. That's alright, it'll visually line up with the front one. I don't care. How did I get that on there? I hope that's not from when my Tamiya lacquer thinner splooged. I may have to pop that and see if I can clean that up with a brush a little bit. It shouldn't damage it, and I should be able to glue it right back down. Yeah, you can see it right there. That looks like a giant bird shit on the window. Yeah, I'll be able to glue that back down. Okay, let's see if I can clear that off easily. Or did the lacquer thinner melt the plastic a little bit, which it may have done. To me, a lacquer thinner is supposed to be pretty gentle, but you never know. And it could be it just left a deposit on there. I'll try Windex or something to see if I can get it off. Get a clean brush, clean it off. Because if it had just a small bit of paint in it, then yeah. Nope, and I won't be able to polish that out easily. It's a couple things we can try. I wasn't wanting to do this, but I'd rather do it now than when I get everything else done. Okay. Q-tip. And do I have... I do. Long shot, but it should work. This is not a deep penetrating scratch or scar. Alex, thank you very much for the tip. Got it. Thank you very much for that. Whoa, too much. Much appreciated, and yes, that will go towards the Humvee Fund, Last week kind of put us behind, more out of my own consciousness than anything, because I got all the work done on my car that we had wanted to, because, you know, I had the parts on hand. But at the end, I wanted to show my neighbor gratitude for the work that he'd done, because he'd offered to do it for free. And I went and got him $100. And paid him that. I was able to put that back, you know, but it was the right thing to do, though. I mean, I tried to help as best I could. I was not expecting my back to be completely blown out like it was. Okay. Like I said, I helped where I could. But he did the leaf springs, the transmission bushing, or not the bushing, but the transmission mount, which was in 5 pieces. Just trying to minimize this blemish on here. I guess when I was cleaning with my lacquer thinner earlier, it decided to blip all over the place, and I didn't notice that a little bit had landed on the windscreen. Okay, we're going to cut this into a smaller piece so that I can get in there. But yeah, it's back on track. I replenished out of my paycheck today, or not today, the other day, and then there's going to be more going in next week. Just chipping away at it a little bit at a time. Let me do something. But we are taking the long approach on this, so we'll see where we sit next year by this point. I want to say by July, August time frame. Between my own savings, anything you guys are willing to assist with, and some model sales I have coming up to a customer. And it depends on if there's a run on Humvees next year at this time too. Hopefully there's not. I'm going to keep an eye on the auctions slowly over time. There's some that aren't selling because they're just missing pieces. I don't care. If it runs, I'll take it. I can always buy headlights and turn signals and things like that. Okay. Hey, we fixed it. Look at that. So, this is actually from a headlight lens cleaning kit, and I used the number 3 and number 4 pads. Yeah, that cleaned it right up. No more bird poop. There's a little bit of the polish. And if you guys want me to put your donations towards something else, like a specific model or something, to help the stream, just say that in your message or let me know through text. I can do that too. I've also got my Amazon wish list loaded up on Twitch and Kick. So if you'd rather contribute that way and surprise me with something from there, you can do that as well. I leave all of that up to you. Alex! Thank you. I will do my best. I had to turn down the music so I could hear it. It's the bane of my existence right now, is my hearing. Now, my back I am doing my best to take care of, and I do really appreciate that. Okay, why can I not hear it either? Oh, there. What was I going to say? Brain poop now. Thank you. It's just something that acts up. I think this time it was cumulative. Had to do some reshuffling of things at work that put more unusual strain on my back than expected. At the same time, a weather front has been moving through. Multiple weather fronts have been moving through. And the pressure... Let's step back a little bit. I can feel pressure changes like you would not believe. High pressure, like good weather, I'm mostly okay. A little achy, but okay. As soon as a low pressure front moves in, though, the joints expand, putting more pressure than normal on my back and my spine and stuff like that. And that's when things begin to really hurt and get thrown out, because I've got two already herniated discs that during a high pressure front would be kind of compressed and smaller. I know it doesn't sound like it should really matter, but to me it does. And as soon as that low pressure front comes in, if I do anything that inflames it even more at the same time, that's what knocks me down. And it's completely random. I could go and lift, and I'm just using this as an example because it's happened in the past. I could lift 100-pound bags of cement all day long, not have a problem. Right? And then a week later, I could be, and this happened at my last job at the dinosaur park. A week later, I could be kneeling down, not doing anything strenuous, just kneeling down, right? Mixing up Aves to fix one of the sculptures. And I go to stand back up and I can't. So it literally is random chance. But at the same time that last one happened, because that's the last time I had an extreme blowout on my back. Before this one. And what happened at that same time? We had massive thunderstorms move through that in the next day or two. So it's not like it's something caused by any direct one thing. And it also makes it difficult to get assistance for it, because oh, you're fine 1 minute, but now you're not? Yeah, that's kind of how this shit rolls, sorry. Being disabled does not mean you're stuck in a wheelchair or on crutches or with those, the assistance crutches that go on your arms like an MS patient or something. It's... yeah, it's tough. But enough about my laziness. And that's the other thing, I don't want to get labeled as being lazy. So maybe I do push myself a little harder than I should in sometimes. But at the same time, if it doesn't hurt, I'm not gonna restrict myself, and I'm not gonna make other people do jobs I know I'm capable of. So I'm making sure I'm getting all the way down into the corner on that. Because this time I think I'm going to take this off. There. And just carefully follow that line, because that's the upper line that's going right along these two wiper blades. And you can kind of see where that is. So I'm just going to go slightly below them. I don't think I cut that very straight. That's okay though. Yeah, so I'm going to go back, and now that I know which end I need to trim down more, and bring this back and line it up and not have it come off. There we go. And, you know, it's not like I'm trying to be young beyond my years or prove that I can still be a functional member of society. It's just how I am, you know? I don't like being watched when I'm working. And I don't like watching others work when it comes to like actual jobs. If I can jump in and help, I'd like to jump in and help. And if things go well with the printing today, I might have a surprise tomorrow. We might change subject for a day. Or 3 or 4. So I'm off tomorrow as well. I don't know when my next day off will be. Most likely Sunday. I won't know until later in the week. The schedule hasn't been posted yet. So for right now, expect Sunday or Monday to be my next possible day off for a good stream. Okay, is this big enough? It is. I absolutely wanted to get on last night, but I was feeling absolutely shitty. Because like I said, my back was acting up. I couldn't do anything. And it's amazing how physically disabling back or any kind of muscle pain can be. Arnie, watch your feet. I almost stepped on you. Just how draining it is. And I've even had people come at me and say, "Oh, you're fat because you're lazy. You can still work out. Look, you're doing that." No, it's because I can't do sit-ups. Because when I do sit-ups, I get a thumping and grinding in my lower back from my 2 fucked up joints. You know? Lightheaded as hell? Yeah, if there's something not right, take it easy. sounds like my former boss might have a sister in your country, and she's the one that you're having to deal with. I'm not trying to make light of your predicament, but these similarities are amazingly astounding. To be honest. But no, as soon as I informed the new boss of what my old boss had already known and was more than happy to accommodate and everything else, that's when everyone's attitude toward me changed with the new boss. And it's like, wait a minute. And I just started putting, things together and saw how basically I had been made into a detriment by somebody because of my own... Because I decided to stand up for myself. And that really just pissed me off. And could I have made something bigger out of it? Possibly, yeah. But I also know how the people in charge there work. And it wouldn't have done me, honestly, any good. I don't know how many of you have dealt with people from Utah or people in Utah. The families here go way the fuck back, and they know everybody. You'll see certain names all over the place. Those names are from the original families, and they carry more weight than... You name it, they carry much more weight. Could I have probably had a beneficial resolution? Yeah. Would it have been worth the headache, heartache, and even possible heart attack trying to do it? No. I mean, they can be some nasty people. When we're done with this one, we're going to swap out this X-Acto blade too. Yeah, I'm mostly happy with how these look, though. But yeah, I hope I can have a good surprise for you guys tomorrow as far as the next subject. Might finish painting Poppy tomorrow. Might take a break on this. Just because I need to sit and think on a couple of the next steps I want to do. But I've got an interesting subject after Poppy, and she's about halfway done. We might be able to finish her up in a stream. Come on, kick. Alex! Thanks again for that. Yeah, so... Oh yeah, if you make it over there, or if I ever make it back to Europe, definitely looking up. I might have to tell the wife that we need to make a summer trip to Denmark. Ow. Ah. If the countryside's anything like, you know, Holland or northern Germany, I'll love it. Okay, we got that on there. So let's get the... So what I use to match the color I saw in the pictures is Vallejo. I don't know if they're newer paint matches, but this is like an ancient bottle. This is on clearance for $1.07. How's that show you how old it was? Of RLM02. But it's probably one of the oldest Vallejo paints I've got. Probably because I use so little of it, and a little goes a long way. This is from their older formula where you could almost get 3 bottles. Like, I could take 1 bottle of this, right? Say I'm mixing these for airbrushing. I could put a third of it into 3 of these Tamiya bottles, properly thin it, and have basically 3 Tamiya bottles worth of paint out of the one Vallejo. That's how thick their stuff used to be. I think they've changed their formula slightly. You get a little bit less now. But sometimes I'll do that. If I got a color that I know I'm just going to be airbrushing, I'll take it from the bottle and just squeeze it into a Tamiya bottle, thin it, make sure it runs right, and just keep it there. And boom, you've just doubled your paint. I can't abide AK. The one time I honestly tried their stuff, I wasn't impressed. The paint brushed okay, but it was still a little thick. But when you tried to thin it, because they touted it as being an acrylic, thinking that, what do you do when you want to brush paint something and it's acrylic? You just dunk it in a little water, swizzle it around, thin it out. No, I tried doing that, and it clumped up like an enamel. Like if you put an enamel in water, how it kind of clumps together. It wouldn't thin unless I used 90% isopropyl or Windex. After that, I threw it out. I'm like, no, I'm not relearning skills that have been honed over decades just to use some bougie manufacturer's paint, you know? I'm not doing that, and it's not worth the price. My time and my effort are not worth the price I paid for the paint. At least that's how I thought. And that same line of acrylics has gone through 2 more iterations since then, because I think they realized they had a problem, and that their paints being non-intuitive was causing an issue. Possibly. But that's the whole key, though, is they wanted you to buy their specific thinner and their retarding medium and a whole bunch of a whole slew of other products just to do this, right? Just to do what you see me doing right here. So that one, at the time, $6 bottle of paint, to use it properly with their system to either brush paint it or airbrush it, could have wound up costing me about $20. Because there's the bottle of paint, the larger bottle of thinner, specialized acrylic thinner, and then the retarding medium and flow improver. No. Does that sound stuck up? Yes. If you don't like that, sorry. But I'm not in it for name dropping on products. I'm not in it for that. I just want to enjoy my hobby. And if the process of painting is not allowing me to enjoy a core tenet of my hobby, then I'm going to continue to use what I know works for me. And that's not to say you can't use them. If they work for you, if the process of using that is more intuitive to you, then by all means, use the hell out of it. I personally won't. You know, but that's me. That's not you. That's not me saying you can't use them ever. I'm just relating my experience. So another thing I did on the front one to dust it up a bit is I dry brushed just the mesh with the paint color. But that's why, I mean, I use Vallejo a lot because I know Vallejo works. Right? Their ground medium and like the dirt medium. I put their European Earth on, gave it a wash of their sand effects thing, and bang, it looks like a region correct mud splash. Because people think like Iraq and Afghanistan, they don't realize it's not all fucking desert. These places have mountains. It snows. They have forested areas. They have wooded areas. Is it like the Pacific Northwest? No. It's more like Utah between here and Moab. You know? Not perfect, but honestly, I'm not too displeased with how that looks. And while you can still see the glare of the glass, I think on the real one you could too if you look carefully enough. You can see how it masks it from other angles where it would just shine. But I know Vallejo is... I don't want to say compatible, like I can't... I've actually mixed the paints in the past. You're not really supposed to be able to because of the makeup of Tamiya versus Vallejo. But I haven't had compatibility issues between Tamiya, Vallejo, oil washes, Poly S, Flowquill, all these products I use that I've garnered this unhealthy collection of over the years, is due mostly to the fact that they are cross-compatible with each other. They won't negatively interfere, and I don't have to worry about one causing a major issue with another down the road. And that's why I stick with what I like. And the one time I tried using another one of those products, I've tried a couple times, honestly. Somebody gifted me some pigments by MIG back in the early 2000s, back when they were all the rage. Not impressed. They are a tool that can be used to do things, but to me they are something that takes longer to do certain things than ways that I had already found myself in the times before the internet. And I know that reeks of, well, back in my day. Well, to be honest, back in that day we had to be more inventive. We had to think outside the box. And it wasn't just learning techniques by rote to apply to something. You know, you weren't. You would look at something and say, how could I do this better or differently? And I get that's how the use of pigments started. Is it was a Spanish model maker thinking of how he could do things differently. More power to him. But that's his method. That would be like Van Gogh going up to Monet and going, "You're painting wrong." No. It's not how it works, but no. Let's get some more music going. What do I want? What do I want? Let's try... I want something a bit more low-key, something more like what we just listened to. We'll try this one. Welcome back, Yankee. And again, just as a reminder, if you are a lurker, at least just post an emote. That way, it's not for me to know who you are, but that way Twitch, right now, they're going through and they're doing a lot of bot elimination. And it just helps you not be targeted by the tools that are looking for kind of lurking accounts that don't do much. That could be on my end. Yeah, I've got some dropped frames. I'm showing my kilobyte ratings jumping all over the place. I think it's my end. We've got storms rolling through the area. I'm very sorry about that. I might see about calling the internet provider and make sure that we don't have like a loose wire or something around here causing issues. Here. Let me see here. Has this been happening the entire stream, or is it something that's just popped up? Thank you, Yankee. Yeah, that just lets the algorithms that they're using know that you're an active user and you're not a viewbot. Yeah, so it just started. It could be something. There's been a lot of construction. There's some rainstorms and a whole bunch of stuff coming through here. And I just want to make sure that we don't have a loose wire on, because we had it happen in the past where our internet comes in via the hard line got messed up in a storm, and I want to make sure it hasn't happened again. Okay, so I'm just going through more pictures. I'm looking for the snaps, what they look like. I know they should be like a hard ring of metal, but I might just be able to replicate them on this with dots of black paint. Where's the picture of Titty Twister so I can see it up close? Yeah, the only ones that look hard exposed are the ones on the front, because they hook on top and they get drawn down the sides. Okay. Yeah, but I'm noticing on OBS there's some serious connection issues. I'm red right now. If this does drop out, I'm very sorry, and I will try and be back on as quickly as possible. But yeah, I have noticed that recently, so thank you for letting me know that you guys saw it. But like last night even, my wife woke up, not last night, but Saturday morning, went to use the bathroom, and when I got up to get ready for work and make coffee, she's like, we don't have water. I'm like, really? I just brewed a pot of coffee. So yeah, there's been a lot of construction and detrimental service interruptions around here lately. But I know it's not on your guys' side of things, it's on mine, because I'm looking at the OBS feed right now. And it's in the yellow. I'm way down on my bitrate. So is like the stream stuttery, or is it the video quality that's down? I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna chip these up a little bit. Normally they're either kept black or they're painted over. I'm gonna chip them up a little bit. Let my shakes work for me for once. Vid is stuttery? Okay. If it gets too much, let me know. I can pause stream for a little bit, let things even out, and then come back. Or we can just fight through it. I know for, like, VODs on YouTube, it won't be too great for the playback, because there's been about 30 or 40 people consistently watching the old VODs. I was also tempted to paint the wheel arches black, because on a lot of them they're just black plastic. But I've noticed most of the time they're overpainted, so I'll leave them as is. Now I see them all together. I'm kind of happy with how that looks. What do y'all think? You can see the mesh a little bit more than you probably should be. But it gets the idea across, I think. Yeah, we're back down in the 900s on... Now we're back up in the 3s. What the heck? Thank you. I don't know. What do you guys think? Stop stream, break for an hour, regroup and come back, or just push on through? It could just be that OBS needs a restart. I don't know. Because it's kind of like... It's kind of like psychological warfare where, you know, knocking out a transmission studio is one thing, but leaving it barely perceptible and causing a headache to your enemy is another thing. So. And if you guys are going to get annoyed and get a headache from stuttery video, I don't want that. So here's the next question. Do I use all 5 figures? Or just the 3 crew figures and call it good? Somebody just watched Battle LA recently. Or he knows a lot about World War I history. So, there. So even with just the 3 figures on it, it's a pretty nice piece. And I might be able to find a different use for these two. Because these guys are down here like, you know, your target's over there, fuck them up kind of thing. But being off the side of the vehicle, I don't know. Because I don't have anything to go around with it to make a larger base. Get out of the hatch. There we go. Yeah, I really like how these are turning out. I'll have to go back over the wheels and redo the dusting on them. Maybe. I'll figure something out. Come on, autofocus. There you go. And I want to try something else with some dirty white that I've got. This paint's been sitting a while. It's still very viable. It's just as old as I am. Retreat? Hell, we just got here. So, now this color is called Dirty White. Once I can get it mixed up. But I want to try and use it as a dust replacement on the hull. And I'll show you why. Because I used this. Not that. Not that. Where is it? There it is. I used this on the sand color, right? So around here, around hatches and things. But it's just not showing up. You can tell it's there. Come on, autofocus. Work with me. There we go. You can kind of tell it's there. But it's not enough. So I want to see if I could make this into a thinned out dust medium and apply that instead on the sandy areas to get them to kind of look a little grittier. And what this paint is... This paint learned to walk and run. So, Tester's acrylics and MIG, ammo, AK, whatever name he's going by now, could exist. If you wanted a dead hard finish that was flat as hell in an acrylic paint, and to me it hadn't made it to your little neck of the woods yet, Flowquill and Polyester were where it was at. There's a good chance this paint is sitting on some Star Wars model that you love. Which one's lighter? Is this... I can't remember if this is acrylic or not. We're gonna huff some paint. If it's enamel, I can't use it. Actually, I can. That's acrylic. We're gonna go with this tan color, because this might be too bright. This is warmer. Yeah, it's warmer and a little darker. The glare of the lights doesn't help you see that, but it is. And I'm sure somebody's clipping that paint huffing comment. So is it still... yeah, it's still probably stuttery for you guys. It's been kind of staying above 1,000. More like between 2 and 3. But I don't like that. We're still red on the connection. Tell you what, everybody stay where you are. I'm going to stop stream, restart OBS, shouldn't change any of my settings, and I'll be right back, okay? I just want to restart OBS and see if that might help.